Guys, could I know which all units are here? Hello everyone. So, hi guys, we are here with the 68th year MSL Trophy winners today. And before I start, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Anshuman Gupta, serving as the President Zone 5 for the 68th year of NASA India. Alongside with me, I have the citation winner Z601, College of Engineering, Trivandrum, and Special mention 1, Z301, Department of Architecture and Planning, VNIT, Z504, the special mention 2, BMS, College of Architecture, and the Juror's Choice 1, Z214, Faculty of Architecture, uh, SCET. Now I would like to I would like to welcome Z602 College of Engineering Trivandrum to present their sheets and explain their ideology behind the 67th year MSL sheets.
Hi, so we are team Z602. My name is Maureen and my teammates are.
Hi, I'm Dia.
And hi, I'm Janna.
So we have one more team member. He is not present here. MSL was a very good experience for us. The most challenging part of the entire trophy, I think, was the site selection. So it was very difficult for us to identify a continuous 3 to 6 kilometer stretch of land that could be realistically transformed into a linear park. So from the beginning, we were certain about one thing, which is we wanted to do it in a canal system. So this is because in Kerala, we have an extensive canal system in various districts. So one of the major major districts which has a lot of canals was Alapura. And there have been efforts to make parks along these canals, but the effectiveness of these parks were debatable. So that was like one of the key pointers which helped us in choosing our site. So coming to Alapura as a place of history, it was a Portuguese colony, and it is. We have done a storyline in the sheet. So if you look into it, you can see the details. So it was a Portuguese colony. So many of the buildings, the architecture there has an Indo-Portuguese influence. And the style of architecture in Kerala is very subtle, very low key, with sloped roofs, thick walls, and all. So that blended with Portuguese is something iconic of Alapura. And there was an extensive coir industry in Alapura, which currently is not there. So these were the primary factors which made Alapura an extremely well-performing city or a town in the past. But now, since the coir factories and all have closed down, since the coir board has closed down, and the industry has suffered a severe setback, a lot of Alapura's culture is being laid back. And a lot of job opportunities which were there previously is not to be found now. And there are severe setbacks before that. The society as a whole has changed a lot from what was present years back. So you, in the initial story, in the initial sketch, you can see a lot of women were employed previously in the coir industry, but now since that employment is not there, you really don't get to see much women outside in the town. You only see a lot of men over there. That is one thing that we noticed during our site visit. And you are now, since the canal system is not being used for transportation like it was being used 100 years back, the canals have started to become a place where people dump waste and all. And much of the biodiversity which was there is currently deteriorating. And all of these things we have tried to show in the sketch through graphical representation as well as through text. And this is the is my pointer being shown in the screen sharing?
Could you
Is my
please
screen
in the
visible?
screen again? The screen isn't visible. Okay. Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay. So this is the sketch I was talking about. You can see that architecture that I was talking about, Indo-Portuguese architecture, Indo-Kerala Portuguese architecture, and the choir industry, which we have tried to represent, and transportation through the canal. Then we have made the entire narration as a old man talking about his days, and you see a lot of women. You see waste being dumped in the canal and all. And then we come to the site location. So this is the stretch of land that we have chosen for the site. So this is the primary town area. This gave us a comfortable 3 to 6 kilometer stretch of land, which was ideal for our for the trophy. And as I said before, previously efforts have been made to make this area a little bit more developed alongside the canal, but those efforts were debatable. And there were studies which have already been done about these efforts. And one of the primary areas that we chose to show our blown up design was a place called Seaview Ward. And this was a potential nook that we saw in the site. That's because we rented cycles and we traveled for an entire day along the entire stretch of the canal and its proximity. And one of the primary hotspots. Okay, so one thing about Alapura is it's also a tourist center. And when you have a lot of tourists, you don't see a lot of locals sitting there enjoying the view. But instead, you see locals joining together, coming together at a particular junction. And that's what we saw at Seaview Ward. We saw a lot of locals hanging around near restaurants, small restaurants. And that nook had ample amount of space for people to put plastic chairs and sit. So this was one nook that we saw. And we decided it was most relevant to create a cultural space, a seating space there. And we have zoned the entire stretch of the land as we have shown in the sheet. And we have also tried to map the demography of the entire place. One thing that we noticed was the amount of females, the number of females in the place was very high, higher than the number of males, but still we couldn't see even a single woman out in public. So that was one of our conclusions and through interactions with the locals, we found out that it's not considered safe for women and children to hang out near the canals. So that was one of the design challenges that we took upon us to solve through our design. And then we have the sun path, how the sun travels in the space, the precipitation and temperature charts. And then we have our, along with our demographics, we have the existing user groups. We have the threads, which are waste dumpers, alcoholics, drug peddlers, sex workers, and potential user group we could attract to this place to make this design a success. And we have identified 6. Is my screen visible? We had identified.
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay. We had identified 6 primary spots which could offer varied uses alongside the canal. So one of the we have Bojeti area, KSRTC Bridge, Shavakota Palam, Seaview Junction, Muppalam, and Seaview Park. Seaview Park is again a tourist place, a place which is exclusively built and developed for tourism. Muppalam and Seaview Junction were two places which were exclusively developed to accommodate the locals. Then you have Shavakottapalam, KSRTC Bridge, and Boat Jetty area, which emphasizes various transportation qualities and historical relevance of the district Alapura. As the name suggests, Boat Jetty area means a jetty for boats, and KSRTC Bridge is Kerala State Transport. Uh, it's opposite to bus terminal, and Shavakottapalam is a bridge which connects two roads alongside the canal. And then we looked into the existing ecology. You have a lot of migratory birds because it's adjacent to a water body, a big water body. And you have a lot of trees which grow because of the ample availability of water. So that is all about the first sheet. My teammates will explain the second sheet.
Okay, then coming to design, our design process actually begin with excessive research, studying documents, maps, and historical records of Alapura. Okay, I will share the screen.
So yeah, by the time your teammate starts, I had few questions which I just found very captivating to ask you. What was something that was a major challenge you faced while you were selecting the site? So you gave a very brief discussion about the site. So what was one of the major challenges you faced while selecting a site?
One of the major challenges that we faced was Kerala as a whole has a lot of canal systems. You have one in Kollam, you have one in Kochi, you have a lot of canal systems. So we wanted to choose a relevant canal system. We were very adamant on not randomly choosing a canal system. So we had to look into depth. We had to consult with a lot of specialists, a lot of our teachers, a lot of our seniors who have worked on various projects. So that is how we ended up choosing something that was relevant to our beliefs, to what our goal was. So I think that was one of the major challenges we faced during the selection process.
Okay. Yeah, please continue.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Okay, coming to design process, actually we researched about canals and all the case studies, how we can implement these solutions into this. So when we saying about this, as we want to make this stretch inclusive and very active, interactive area, because it's the canal is almost, the stretch is almost kept useless and no one used it. So first of all, we did was we cut the canal edges into slopes, as you can see the we cutted the edges into slopes, into levels, and transforming each levels into functional spaces. So the edges can be used for each functions. And the main thing we did was we zoned the areas particularly for the user groups. Like there are flood zone, active zone, calm zone, and interactive zones. So the flood zone is designed for a floodable area. So in flood zone, we introduced uh, bioswales and purification areas. Also, sand pits. Sorry. So vegetations that filter water and how we can manage flood, all that. And coming to active zones, we introduce the areas that people can use for jogging and walking. So there will be active movement taking place all the time. And we're looking into calm zone. In calm zone, we used reading areas and meditative zones for yoga spaces. So this zone is almost buffered with native vegetative plants. And basically, we used all the native elements into these areas. As you can see, we here introduced a reading zone. So the book stored in Pattayam. Pattayam is old containers in Kerala to store grains and all. So, and also we gave there is space for fish vendors because when we went to site, we saw the people are interested in fishing there. So we gave space for fish vendors, and there is a resting seating give. The resting seating we give was Attani. Attani is also a traditional knowledge in Kerala views. And there is interactive zone. In interactive zones, we ensure the interaction between all the people. It includes children, elders, and all the age groups. So in that also we introduced our native vegetations and local materials. As you can see here, pavilion is built. The pavilion is we roofed with mullapandal. Mullapandal is basically means jasmine vines, so that sweet scent and calming reduce is also help to reduce stress and enhancing all the mood and for children also we gave a separate area for their interactions and play. Um, Also, we gave here handrails. That's all wrapped in coir. Coir is the natural material there, which used traditionally in Alapura. Like all the coir and coconut shells, all the natural and local materials are used for design.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for presenting the sheet. So there are a few questions which randomly comes to my mind. One is that what is something that you found very interesting throughout the whole trophy that made you very enthusiastic to finish the trophy and make sure that you did win it? Something which always motivated you for having the whole thing sorted. What was something that always helped you out?
I think it was our team spirit which motivated us to show up every day. So I am 1 year senior to Diya and Jana. So it was very motivating for me as a senior to see these people show up every day to our graphics lab. That team spirit is what motivated us to win, to try to win the trophy. Winning the trophy was because of a lot of things, but this is what motivated us.
Apart from the site challenges, what are the challenges you faced within the team or what are the challenges you think that you faced which helped you out win, or some suggestions you would like to give this year's participants on the same?
I think one of the most challenging parts was creating an interpersonal relationship between the members in our team. So initially, it was very difficult to bring everybody together. It was difficult to motivate everybody to come, but uh, as a result of talking to each other, as a result of spending more time with each other, we automatically started to show up every day. And there were times when we stayed up so late till the morning. There were times we sacrificed our holidays. I think it's a very relatable thing for every team, but those sacrifices bonded us as a team, and that improved our dynamics, and that these conversations, these storytelling that we did in our time working together is what created the narration of the sheet as a whole.
Thank you guys. Thank you for presenting the sheets, and congratulations on winning the 67th year MSL Trophy. Congratulations, guys. So now I would request Z301 to present their sheets and explain their experience and how it was to go throughout the sheets and how what was their team spirits.
So, hello everyone. I am Revati along with my teammates Mahima, Surat, and Tanaya. We are from Department of Architecture and Planning, VNIT, Zone 301. So, we are very interested and we had a lot of fun doing the 67th year's MSL Trophy. But when we first started on the brief, we were slightly confused as to what again, as the previous team said, the site selection was a very confusing thing for us at first. And the site we had already selected at first before the brief decoding session that happened. So later we realized that that stretch was maybe did not have as much potential as we wanted for the actual trophy work. So when that session happened, we reread the brief, and the keywords that we really looked out for was a journey through the city. And so what we did is we did the same thing. We journeyed throughout the city. We visited on foot through metro stations, and we visited on our scooties. So we basically did a tour of our own city for the same. So, to tell you a little about our city, Nagpur is a very developing city as of now, and there is a lot of old and new infrastructure. So, there is some development already happened, some is still developing, and there are old parts of the city which are yet to be developed. Also, there is a culture in Nagpur which is like nobody really travels on foot here. There is not a very lively street culture in terms of walking as such. So what is people what usually do here is they just take out their vehicles and go wherever they want to go, because it is very easy to reach one place to another. So what our design intent was basically to enhance the walkability of all the pedestrian paths through the linear park. So, in the city center, we have a 0 mile, which is the geographical center of India. And on the eastern side, just one metro station away from 0 mile, is the cotton market area. So, the cotton market area in the early 20th century, from the early 20th century, has been a very lively market area for trading. It was a pivotal trading center both for oranges as well and cotton also. But recently, due to urbanization, it has happened that the place has gone all defunct. And there are a lot of encroachments on the path there. People still visit, but the numbers have lessened, and there is a lot of littering and garbage everywhere. So that was one major thing that we focused on. Other than that, Nagpur is also a city of 5 lakes, and there was one Gandhi Sagar Lake in the end, which is also still developing, and it is one of the lesser visited lakes in the city. So these were the two aspects that we focused on the old part of the city. And for the newer development which is happening on the western part of the city, so we wanted to make a connect through the whole city, as we said through the brief journey through the city. So we wanted to pedestrians, whoever was using the park, to basically see the liveliness of the city, to see what the city is all about through through a pedestrian path, through a linear park. So that was our main design intent. So what we did is we selected the whole stretch, and we divided into five stretches, five parts for both analysis and design. So the first part was traffic park to university library. So traffic park is essentially a children's park for educating them about all the intersections on road and such. Then there was university library. Then the second stretch was university library to Maharaj Bagh Zoo. So that was a quiet path which was mostly used by students. Then the third is Maharaj Bagh Zoo to Freedom Park near Zero Mile. So that is also, that stretch of part has a lot of heritage buildings from British times. So that is also a very peaceful path. Then our stretch kind of had a disconnect here, but we connected it through the metro station, as I mentioned earlier. So from Zero Mile metro station, just one stop away is the Cotton Market metro station, where you are directly like thrown into the market area. So that is that. So then it is a very lively area. Then from Cotton Market metro station, the path goes from Raman Science Center and through Raman Science Center to Gandhi Sagar Lake, so which was our ending point for the whole linear park. So luckily during the time when we participated for this trophy, in that semester we had our courses for landscape architecture as well as urban planning and design. So we got to explore our site selection and stretch through these all lenses. So what we did is when we selected all these stretches, we decided to map what were the issues there, then what were the viewpoints, what were the temporal changes happening in the area, what is the social activity, what is the morphology, how is the landscape around, and how the space is perceived, how we can change the perception of the space, as well as how we can make it more functional. So in our sheets that you can see, the first sheet is what is there, what is existing, and the second sheet is all about what we did. So we noticed that there were lots of footpaths which were very wide, which were kind of newly developed because of the metro station, because metro is also kind of recent in Nagpur. But then they were not being used as much, and half of it was, somewhere it was uh, occupied by slums. Then at some places there was just a lot of encroachments happening, so people were not using them for walking but for other activities entirely. Then there were some spaces where the footpath was very narrow, and it was being used by some few people, but it was being used in the sense that because they have no other option than to use the footpath. So it was that these were like the challenges that we noted down and decided to how to make it better for them and how we could enhance it. Then we also noticed that in some places like the traffic park stretch, it was a children's park, but it was very dull in the morning. There was no activity happening over there, and but at night, since there were a lot of eateries around the area, it was very vibrant at that time. But the park was very uh, like the park was not being used at all. Then opposite to that, in the Maharaj Bagh Zoo stretch, at the bus stop, so there was users there. They were using the bus stop in the morning, and the street slums were also being occupied. But during the night, again, there were no lights, and it was a defunct area. People would not go there or not use it at all. So that was one of the things. Then, as I said, there were also, our linear park also connected a lot of different parks. So but these parks were not being utilized to their like whole potential. So that was one thing that we noticed a lot. And because Nagpur also has a very extreme climate. If there is a heat, there's a lot of heat. So that was also one thing that was making it very difficult to use the paths. So what that's what we this is all what we noted. We took interviews as well. We visited the site again and again, lot of times, to see that what is happening. And mostly that I can say is our design came from all this data that we documented. So what we did is we took each feature from one or two stretches that we thought we could use to highlight for our park and made three sections. So our weaving the city together, Dory is what is our the linear park name was, which linked the city together. So we divided in three parts. One was Urja, second was Vayu, and third was Taram. So, if you see the first stretch, which was from the traffic park to University Library, so here, due to the slum areas, there were a lot of children were the main user group of this area, and in the slum areas on the wider footpath that we noticed, so there were volunteers from NGOs who used to teach those children from the slums on Sunday mornings. So we took upon that focal as a focal point, and what we did is we incorporated a whole experience in a way of adding a gurukul along the footpath, along the park also. So we added how we could, like, for overall development of a child, so what we could do, so to make them more make it more fun also for them, make it more playful. So we added a floorboard game zone, we added rock climbing zones, a sensory path, as well as soundscaping features, all these elements which children can actually interact with, which from which they can get an experience as well, so where they can both learn and play. So that was our main focus area for this part. So that's why we called it Urja, which was supposed to be the energetic area of the, like, the starting energetic area of the linear park. Now I'll ask my teammate to continue.
Okay, so before going on with the stretch 2 and 3, I would like to emphasize on the point that while we were decoding the brief, we realized that selecting a 3 or 4 kilometer of a long stretch was becoming very overwhelming at once. We could not think properly of what we could design. So we used the strategy of dividing the stretches so that we could deal with the issues of each stretches individually and then propose design for the stretches individually, because we realized that a city like Nagpur changes its characters, its users, its total environment every kilometer that we go. So a one fit all solution for the entire stretch would not work. So that was the first thing. The second was that we looked at the brief through social as well as the urban lens. It was never only about landscape. So it added more layer to the design and also had an emotional connect. What basically we did was we selected certain neglected lands around the city and then modified them, treated them better, and gave it back to the city and its people so that people could do their mundane activities in a joyful manner. It was as simple as that. So then coming to the stretch 2 and stretch 3, which was from the University Library to the Maharaj Bagh Zoo. So while doing our temporal, visual, morphological analysis, we realized that stretch 2 had issues of water. So stretch 2 had Nag Nadi flowing through it, but it wasn't made visible. And then it also had certain low-lying water accumulation areas, which were now being treated as dumping yards. So we wanted that issue to be solved in that specific stretch. Then coming to the stretch 3, which was from the Maharaj Bagh Zoo to the Freedom Park. Here, as mentioned earlier by Revati, there were certain existing good quality urban parks, but they were being severely underused. So we wanted to bring those. So we wanted the parks to be made visible, to be made accessible, and connect them through this one linear park. Then through these issues, we came upon the design, which was the second part of a design called Vayu. So here we gave a Gurukul sort of a pavilion, because we've realized that this stretch had users who were generally pedestrian. They were basically using the library, then coming back to the bus stop, then bus stop to library. So we wanted to add more value to this mundane kind of an activity. So these water accumulation, low-lying areas were being modified into useful Gurukul pavilions. Then second design iteration that we did was we added the Nag Nadi viewing point bridge. So
why, if we have an asset like a river like this in a city, why don't we celebrate it? Why don't we take users through this bridge and make them realize of the city, and then make them just take a moment and celebrate a river like this? Then we also realized that along this stretch we had 4-meter wide footpaths, and then adjacent to the footpath also we had certain empty lands. So and now these footpaths are just being encroached by vendors and food carts. So why don't we make footpaths our main design element, and how should an ideal footpath be? So we did some case studies, and we also went to the site, and then we came upon certain design features, like how do we make rainwater harvesting visible, and how do we make it as a design element, and how do we make biospheres as an interesting design element, and all the details of the footpath will again be shared by my colleague. So this was all about the second part of our design, which was value. Now I ask Suraj to explain further.
So these wider footpaths, we redesign them by dividing them into multiple zones for different users. A vehicular edge, which is the road, the leisure walking path with tactile paving, a fast walking path, a cycling path, installation zones, tree integrated seating zones, bioswales, and an integrated spiral rainwater harvesting system. The illustrations here includes the section, the aerial view of the park, the footpath zone, and also the spiral rainwater harvesting system, where the spiral channels, they basically slow off the water runoff by increasing their water retention. Bioswales capture and filter the storm waters, which reduces the flood risk and pollution risk. These walking paths, they use kinetic semi-permeable pavers that generate electricity to power the street lights all along the stretch of the linear park. Where the width is limited, we proposed arches and murals to enhance the identity and visual interest, because this was the only place where pedestrians were actually using the footpath, but we were not able to actually design anything because of the width restrictions of the footpaths. I now come upon to the fourth and the fifth stretch. So the fourth stretch, which is the Quarter Market Metro Station to the Raman Science Center, and the fifth stretch is the Raman Science Center to the end of the linear park, which is at the Gandhi Sagar Lake. This is being named Tarag. This zone marks the beginning of the old city. It is connected to the new city through a metro access, with 0 Mile, the geographical center of the India, being an important node. The major landmark structures in this stretches were the underpass connection from the old city and the new city on which the railway runs, a Cotton Market metro station, a Cotton or the Phule market, the actual market, the Raman Science Center, and the Gandhi Sagar Lake. The Cotton and Phule markets are it is the very old market, and it is very chaotic in the daytime, because it is very severely, the spaces are encroached. There are chaotic markets, there are dumping areas in the market itself, and there is a neglected historic facades of the building. The vendors report unusable footpaths and demand designated clean, shaded, and mending areas. There are many overheaded bridges as well as metro bridges, temporary stalls, underused spaces near the lake, which contributes to the lack of individual identity to the once famous cotton market. The temporal activities in the cotton market is that it is very crowded in the day, lively and vibrant in the evening, because most of the vendors leave, and then there are just better activities going on. The lake area is usually very vehicular and inactive by the day, and almost empty at night. For designing this, due to overcrowding and the lack of open spaces and the constant chaos in the market space, there was limited scope for creating newer areas like we did in the newer part of the city. So we focused on redesigning the footpaths. We have proposed a 7 feet high jali wall on one side of the footpath to act as the buffer from the busier market, along with the roof, which is inspired from the roof of the cotton market. We have also suggested managing dump yard waste by composting organic waste from the cotton market, which is now a vegetable market, and using it for plantations along the linear park. The vacant land near the Gandhi Sagar Lake is proposed to be cleared and developed into a ghat and extended public spaces for exhibitions, carnivals, community activities, food stalls, etc. We studied the existing tree species, and we studied them, and we tried to propose similar kind of trees so that it becomes a cohesive environment rather than bringing newer trees and of different environment. There is a list of bird species as well, which is based on their habitats along the different spaces of the linear park. Thank you.
So yeah, guys, it was an exciting explanation towards the sheet. Something which I found interesting, or which I wanted to ask is, how what was the experience you thought while you were selecting the site, and what was when you interviewed those people, what were their thoughts and what were their reaction towards the whole thing?
Tanaya, you can go ahead and speak.
So while interviewing, basically everyone kind of used that path every day almost. Students, and vendors and everyone. So they were quite excited about the ideas we were telling them, and they thought that it was really going to be implemented. So it was kind of motivating also to work with those ideas, seeing a smile on their face. So basically, yeah, their experience was that we use this every day, and if we propose a new kind of character, if we add some sort of value to all these mundane activities, it is always going to help them and the cities. So that is what we realized.
And so when you divided the spaces into 5 different zones or 5 different spaces, how was it that you connected each at the end of the day, or were there any challenges you faced while you were connecting these spaces with each other? How you interconnected them?
So at first it was very confusing for us as well to how to connect all these stretches. But I think one thing that helped us most was that we were looking at it as Nagpur's identity as a whole, and we did a lot of documentation on that. We made very regular visits whenever we got a free time. We used to just visit our site, and through that way we proposed that even if we are doing different things on different areas, we wanted to keep the experience same. So that's why, as I said, mostly our linear park is based on footpaths. So it is basically connecting through the footpaths as well. So that was our main connecting element, which we used for our design. And it was just a path offering different experiences everywhere, so that it is the movement and contemplation both are involved through that. So the people not only just walk throughout the park, but they experience the park and experience the small zones of the city.
Okay, and so one more last question that I would like to ask is, what is something that motivated you to finish the trophy, and something that you would like to tell the participants this year for the 68th year MSL Trophy?
I think for us, the last year's brief was more on the side of analysis rather than design. So what we did was we learned a lot of different kind of analysis methodologies, which were very new for us. And while designing, we realized that if we do the regular kind of design, it is not going to stand out. So we came up with certain bold ideas, which probably may not be implemented if we go by the bylaws or certain other things. So for us, it was very necessary that we bold, fresh ideas. So that only came when we did extensive research, site visits, and analysis. It wouldn't have been possible if we went by the book method of doing online case studies and just start designing. It was made only possible because of the extensive analysis, and we would like to thank the brief for helping us going in that direction and coming up with bold ideas.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for presenting the sheets, and congratulations on winning the MSL Trophy for the 67th year. Now, I would request Z504 to present their sheets and explain their sheets.
Hi, my name is Ananya Adesh, and I'm representing Team Neeraprabha from BMS College of Architecture. I will be briefly explaining the introduction to the site and as to why we chose it as well. Are you guys able to see this?
Yeah, screen is visible.
The site we had chosen was the beachfront in Fort Kochi. Fort Kochi is very well known for its beaches and its cultural history, mainly such as how Vasco da Gama had landed over there, like at the port as well. The reason why we chose this site was the government had actually already redefined the beachfront walkway with a lot of uh, pillars and boulders, like trying to protect the site, protect the beachfront basically from the high tides. That it's very well known for the destruction caused by the tides and how almost all of the landscaping, everything gets ruined once the water level rises up. So once the government tried to bring in an intervention as well, because of the tides, everything got ruined, and this happened about during COVID. And after that, like the government has also not exactly taken any kind of steps or measures to restore it, because I believe they don't exactly know how to tackle with the tide situation. Fort Kochi is also known for its integration of the Dutch, Portuguese, and colonial architecture, which makes it a fabulous site for tourists to visit as well. It brings in a lot of footfall in terms of tourism every year, especially during New Year's and all of that. Some of the issues, as you can see on the sheet, that we found was poor infrastructure, such as breaking of the cobblestones, garbage and littering causing like pollution in the site, coastal erosion due to the pressure of the waves, lack of connectivity between the landmarks. And you can see some of the pictures of the issues as well. The climate of Fort Kochi is very hot and humid, with the highest being like 34 degrees Celsius and lowest being just 24. And humidity levels can range between 70 to 90%. And mainly because of the climate as well, almost all the materials, everything gets ruined very fast. The user group of Fort Kochi beach are mainly the localites, like the tourists and the fishermen. So you can see the fishermen use the Chinese fishing nets and catch the fishes like right in front of you itself. It is also very well known for its history and culture, which I'll try not to get very much into, such as it is also part of the Chera dynasty's trade routes. It is known for its spices, particularly black pepper. It is a prominent trading post, and Portuguese built a fort over here. It is known for its local architecture, culture, and religion. Dutch East India Company had captured Fort Kochi from the Portuguese as well, and it's known for its Matanjiri Palace also. The historical chapter of this is the St. Francis Church, which is the oldest European church in India. The stretch that we had chosen was about 3 kilometers long, and we tried to divide it into three subzones to help design better as well. And we had detailed out a stretch of 200 meters square. So the concept was the integration of the existing site features, such as the Chinese fishing nets, the local artifacts present over there, and the influence of the socio-cultural elements. It is also known for its Kochi Carnival and the Spice Village Market. So we have tried to gather all of these characters into the design. Zone 1 indicates or highlights the edge of the Fort Kochi, which from where you can mainly watch the beaches. It also gives good views into the Vaipin and the Vallarpadam Bridge. Dutch Cemetery and Fort Emmanuel as well. You can also see like a lot of Chinese fishing nets and fish markets over here. Zone 2 is known for it begins at the boat jetty and terminates at the village spice market, which connects to Zone 3. This zone gives good views into the Aspen Wall House, Brunton Bungalow, Ballard House, and Fort Ayurveda as well. So it's known for all of the built heritage. Zone 3 begins at the village spice market and terminates at an open edge of the Matanjeri Palace or Jewtown. This holds the culture of the Dutch, Portuguese, and the Jewtown of Matanjeri. And it also has the Paradesi Synagogue in close proximity as well. We had also sketched out some of the existing local landmarks over there, such as its street characters, how the beach walkway acts as a scenic pathway as well. Some of the activities that we had mainly tried to focus upon were social, physical, economical, and environmental. And another reason why why this project fit for us a lot was because it kind of like fits into the brief of the topic for that year of MSL as well, like how we had tried to merge the blue, green, and gray infrastructure and carve out the pockets and create landscaping into that as well. I will ask my teammate Abhigna to talk about the design interventions that we had brought into the 3 zones. Thank you.
So as my teammate mentioned, our approach to this Fort Kochi site was through division into zones, and our design approach was based on the cues that we derived from our site. Our intervention was all just addition from whatever we already derived from our site study and how it is currently working and how it could work better, what could be added for it to work better. So our detailing was for the zone 1, which was the stretch from Fort Kochi beach to the Chinese fishing net stretch, which was a stretch of 200 meters. So in which we have named as 3 subzones within our zone itself. So within our first zone, there lied the entrance and the parking area and the entrance to Fort Kochi beach, which is a major destination in the area. We proposed a sort of open seating stepped pavilion here, which is integrated with the beachfront. And our intervention on a larger scale was to make the beach walkway more usable, which is an existing structure. But like my teammate mentioned, due to coastal erosion and poor maintenance, it is not being used to the fullest potential. So this beach walkway was basically enhanced by introducing better eco-friendly materials so that biodiversity can also be maintained. So one such material was laterite tiles, which is a locally available material. And for the coastal erosion, which is a major issue of the area, we proposed the use of breakwaters in the tetrapod shape, which have been integrated basically along the walkway edges. So that is basically the formation of the beach walkway. Also the integration of a cycling track, which aligns with our physical aspect, which we have mentioned, the social, physical, economical, and environmental. So in the subzone 1, you then lead to these projections, which are basically viewing decks for the beach itself. In our second stretch, we basically have a continuation. We have a redesigning of the gazebos, which are also an existing feature, by adding public toilets and seating so that it can be used by the local people as well. And then our subzone 3 is basically the fish market stretch, where the Chinese fishing nets are existing, which are a famous tourist destination and a iconic feature of Fort Kochi itself. So there is an existing fish market, which is not in the greatest state and not the most functional. So we proposed better fishing docks, a better connection between the dock and the market itself, and a more efficient design for the fish market stalls. So these are some of the planning strategies that we proposed for our design itself. Coming to the other elements. So in terms of how we approached it in section and how it works more practically, so the stretch along the beach was each dealt with in a different method based on the zoning itself. So along one zone, there is the pedestrianized pathway, the bicycle lane. proposed seating areas, and then again step areas and sports area, which is again an extension of an existing function that was here, but in a more practical way. There was also, since local biodiversity is an important aspect to also include in our design, we studied the local species, both flora and fauna. So rain tree is a common tree species in Fort Kochi. It is a native species. So the integration of rain trees along our stretch, as well as casuarina, which is called sea oak, which is a common coastal species. And coming to the fauna, the green sea turtles, sandpipers, pomfrey, and tiger prawn, Indian mackerel, and anchovy are the common existing marine species here. So how we have basically helped them to a certain extent is through the adding of breakwaters, which is controlling the water pressure, better helps the biodiversity in the ocean itself grow, as well as the accessibility aspect. So out of the viewing decks we have proposed, one is an accessible viewing deck for wheelchair access. And also in terms of sustainability, we have proposed solar powered street lights along our whole stretch. And then there are also the gazebos and seating. So the iconic Chinese fishing net and a better developed boat docking area along with the Chinese fishing net, which then leads to the proposed fish market and the stalls and seating around that. So the same we have also tried to explain through the views that we have worked on. So the pavilion near the beach with the stepped seating, sports area for the overall Fort Kochi stretch, because there are many events that happen here. There's the Kochi Biennale, there's the Cochin Carnival. So these spaces are basically multifunctional and they can also be temporal and changing with respect to what is required. There is the viewing decks, which are 4 in number along our stretch. So a community area with basically public toilets and such and seating, and the newly proposed fish market stalls with better circulation and usability. And drawing inspiration from the Kochi Biennale, which is a world famous event, we also integrated these activities such as installations, which can be led by architects and designers, in addition to what is already happening in the Biennale, which we also proposed in our step seating pavilion kind of area near the Fort Kochi beach. And in terms of landscaping, we proposed a blue mosaic tile, which is basically a common feature that continues throughout our stretch, which leads further into the Spice Market, Jew Town, and all of that. Basically emulating ocean waves. So that character of the ocean and the beach walkway is carried throughout our design. So this was basically our approach of trying to include the community, the tourists, the locals, and also the biodiversity and environmental concerns, and the proposal that we came up with all of our analysis, keeping all this in mind. Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, what was the most interesting part that you or you guys felt very interested to work with respect to your site, or maybe with respect to the brief? What was so interesting that kept you motivated throughout?
I believe it was the climatic challenges, like working with such a hot and humid weather was one of the biggest challenges we had to face, because it depended on the kind of materials we chose and all of that, plus the tides also. So the geographical, I mean, the apart from the climatic situation, also the kind of uh, because of where it's located, because it's so close to the beach, all of those were like a really big challenge for us. So I feel like that was very interesting compared to like a lot of the other options that we had tried to like choose.
Okay, apart from that, what were the kind of softwares that you guys tried to use, and how was the team coordination within yourselves? What was something that was challenging within the team?
The kind of softwares that we use were mainly AutoCAD and this software called D5 for rendering purposes. And it's an amazing software if you want to get like water effect and all of those. And apart from that, basic Photoshop, all of that for sheet rendering and sheet composition. And team wise, I believe we had like a really good time because our site was very fun. It was very fun to visit as well because like it's a very touristy attraction. So in terms of all of that, we definitely had a lot of tough fun in terms of finding issues. So overall, it was a great site. It was a great project. So we are very proud of it as well.
Okay. Something that you would like to suggest this year's participant for the 68th year of MSL Trophy?
I would suggest to just go all out, like, try to find more different, more unique kind of sites. Because when you come in terms of landscape, people usually would go to like a very riverfront or something like that. So it's good to like explore other opportunities where you can integrate landscape into that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And congratulations on winning the MSL Trophy for the 67th year. Thank you for the presentation, also, guys.
Thank you.
Now, I would request Z214 to present their sheets and explain about them.
Good evening, everyone. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay. So, my name is Amir Bacha, and I have my teammate alongside me, Himanshu Sharma, from the Faculty of Architecture, IDBT SCED from Surat, Z214. So, straight away, I'd like to begin with the first sheet that starts with the location. So, to give a brief background about how we started with a brief decode, and one thing that really resonated with all of us was the phrase that linear parks take people on a journey throughout the city. I think that phrase really stuck with us. So we took that phrase seriously in our site selection process as well. And we really tried to search for sites and cities where the city had a unique connection with a water body or water body, any kind of water body that runs through it, and really has a unique opportunity to enhance the water body itself and give a new life to the city. So on the lines of that, we looked at Vishwamitri River. That's a site. That's a river. So the Vishwamitri River is approximately 25 kilometers. It's a really long stretch. It runs across the city of Vadodara. So it begins up hills in the Pavagadh Hills, as you can see, it's mentioned over here, and it really just comes down over here and really dissects the whole city of Vadodara, as you can see in the map over here. So we found this as a really unique opportunity to develop the river edge, and also on thinking about the impact it can really elevate the whole city in terms of its biodiversity, in terms of the spaces that we can develop, and so on. So this was a brief introduction about the site. So when we researched about Vishwamitri River and its situation in Vadodara, we found out that it was under serious threat, and it was really, it was publicized, and every time during monsoon every year there were a lot of reports that linked the Vishwamitri River with several issues. For example, you can see over here the mention of crocodiles, the littering on the edges, and also the absence of percolation, because the edge of the river was littered, and there was so much sedimentary deposition across the edge that the water was not able to percolate. So these were such issues that we found out in the initial stages. So after that, we moved on to the site analysis, and obviously we all know that every design process should be backed with a really strong site analysis. So we began with the Vadodara city, and we had a full-on site analysis with all the layers as it's visible in the sheet, which talked about Vadodara as a city and how the water body, the Vishwamitri River, really interacted with the whole city in terms of its slope, in terms of how the water movement, and the vegetation, the flood zone. So all of these things proved to be really important in understanding the behavior of the water body across the whole city. So this was, of course, on a macro level. So as we moved on to a micro level, we really delineated this area over here, which is a precinct, and we also have presented a precinct study with similar. Again, we had a site analysis presented over here for the precinct. So we had built versus open, we had water bodies, we had layers of communities and different types of land use to really understand how this river itself interacts with the surroundings that it flows through. And then moving on to the flora and fauna, I think these two are really important aspects because when we found out about the issues that the river has, the biodiversity was a really important issue because all of these species and all of these flora and fauna were endangered, and it's really imperial and really imperative to propose something that really takes these things into consideration, and it's really important. So we had also mapped out all the flora and the fauna mapping around our precinct. So if you can see the whole sheet as a whole, what we had envisioned was that we should have like a top view, a plan view of the entire river in the center of the sheet. We had the analysis and all of these layers on this side along with the flora and fauna. And our conceptual phase and the program derivation was really positioned on the right to give a direction to the reader. So if you look at this plan, we have also supplemented this plan with certain small schematic sections that really, highlight the small little issues such as, as I mentioned, the deposition of soil, soil quality degradation, sedimentation. So all of these issues needed to be highlighted. But since this is such a large scale, we thought that using sectional diagrams and sectional details would really help us capture these issues, such as here we have untreated sewage being discharged into the water body. We had dumping of plastic waste, and we have other issues such as soil erosion. So we really mapped out all these issues and positioned them across the whole plan of the whole precinct so that it gives the user a clear understanding of all the issues. And if we move on to the program derivation, we noticed that there was a mismatch between the water cycles and the urbanization cycles, which is a really core issue that we had to address. So we had all these issues and such as land and watershed degradation, waste management, and unplanned urban growth. So all of these issues were really on a mismatch with the natural cycle, the water cycle. So we had aimed to, address all these issues, and we listed all these issues in different types, such as river-related issues. So we had flooding, we had depleted biological processes, we had open waste dumping, as mentioned before. And in terms of urban issues, we had depletion of green space, lack of community engagement. So we found that after all these listing out all these issues, there was really a really good opportunity to give life to this water body, this riverfront, if you would like to call it, to really enhance this whole stretch and enhance the experience of the people of the city for the people that are living in it. So we listed all these issues, and then we had all our design objectives, such as rejuvenating biodiversity, as I mentioned before during the flora and fauna presentation, improved environmental condition. We had managing land use and nearby activities, and then we linked that to removing encroachment. So we had all these objectives and what we could do listed down over here. And so moving on to our conceptual phase, we decided on a zone division. Of course, that really helps us to detail out our design since it's a large scale. So we decided on a human-centric zone. We had a human and an ecological zone, and then we had a eco-sensitive zone. So all these zones also had detailed elements such as public amenities, gathering spaces. So, what each zone should contain, all these aspects were listed over here. So, we created a really enhanced and really comprehensive program derivation over here. We also listed out all the key stakeholders. We had the local people, the visitors, the urban local bodies that are situated somewhere around the edge or the river that passes through. We had institutes, we had all types of age groups, we had several income groups, and then we had religious communities really scattered out around these areas over here. So now, since the entire stretch is too large to document and design, so we decided to select a single stretch for our intervention. And so this area over here was selected as an ideal spot to really go through with our intervention because it had different types of age groups and religious groups. So we could really showcase our design in a really holistic manner. And then again, we had a precinct study of the proposed site, as I mentioned. So now we have narrowed down to this specific patch over here. So we really went from the whole city to a precinct to the river to this patch over here, which was a really good scale to showcase our design. So we again mapped all these built versus open income groups, land use to really understand everything and help us with a conceptual phase. And this is the present state of the proposed site. This is kind of like an aerial view to give users an understanding of where the built mass is, where the river flows through, where there is green cover, and so on. So all in all, this was the first sheet, which really showcases everything till the conceptual phase. And now this is the design sheet. I'd like Himanshu to pick up from here. If that's all right. Thank you. Let me just present. It's fine.
All right. So as we know, our site is approximately specific site is approximately 6 kilometer long. So eventually, we decided to means zone out the whole site into 4 different zones, and we named the zones according to the sensory features that we want to add, and eventually the organic shape of the site means organic shape of the patch will help us to decide what we want to give the city. So eventually, as we all know that we come to an idea to divide our overall design for 3 specific things, which are one is properly human centric. Second is where you can found both human centric and for other means animals and means biodiversity. And third is specifically for the existing ecology. So so as we go through this site, we can found that for human centric design there are pavilions and walkways which are eventually connected to the biospheres that we developed. And in Vishwamitri River, there is a very specific problem of flooding. So we try to implement some Japanese method, which are like, can you just scroll down? Yeah, scroll it. Yeah, which are like hurdles, which eventually slows down the fast flows of flood and calm the river. And the very important aspect of our site is its biodiversity, because in this river there is a means large species, large group of species live, which which is like crocodiles and other animals. And so we want to create an hierarchy for human and the existing crocodiles, because these kind of animals are, means generally these kind of animals are very harmful for humans, but we want to create a specific hierarchy. So we try to create a very beautiful home for them, which is a specific animal zone, which you can see the bottom part of the river. And also we create a specific bioswales for them, when they can easily, means safely and happily live there. And humans can visually see them, but there is a physical barrier. And for humans, there is another very interesting thing that we propose is this decks bridges, which eventually connect the whole city. Because in Vishwavitri rivers you can find very less bridges, and through this decks you can easily go through one end to another end, and eventually this will help many peoples to travel the city in a more healthier way. And as you go down, yeah, scroll down. Yeah. So, in short, these are some these are some large intervention, and we also do some edge treatment for the river, because Vadodara is the specific part for this river to get measure most polluted. So eventually, if we treat the edge properly, the river health get revived, and eventually the whole city get benefit from them. And at the edge we also provide some walkways and cycling tracks, which uh, which uh, uh, which directly affect the humans which are living there. So this is the overview of our design. If Amir, you want to add some
Yes,
points?
one thing I would like to add quickly is that, as mentioned really well by him, Imanshu, is that we have all these interventions over here and in different zones. So what we have tried to achieve here is that all these zones have certain spaces, programmatic spaces. As you can see, you have amphitheater over here, you have exhibition spaces over here, and then here you have like a ghat like seating that we have tried to incorporate in this edge over here in the one of the zones. And then so in this zone, as you can see in Abhyakund, we have children's play area, open gym. So over here also, as we can see, we have a bird watching zone over here. So all of these spaces and the division was done according to the context, as mentioned previously. Each zone, the programmatic composition of each zone was dependent on what the context had near to that zone, what kind of people lived there, what kind of communities, income groups live there, what kind of biodiversity was present on that edge. And so overall, this patch over here divided into 4 zones can be seen over here now. This patch, this package over here is on a smaller scale. And what we have tried to do is that this patch can be used as a prototype. So you can create like a catalog and you can select these spaces and create new combinations of such design interventions across that can be repeatable across the whole stretch over here. So we have obviously not displayed that in this case because we understand the scale of the trophy and the entry. So this we have also proposed a proposal master plan over here. So we have labeled all these zones as non-development zone, which are primarily reserved for the ecosystem and eco-sensitive zone over here. So we have marked them. We have also similarly marked all the developable zone that should be developed as human nature interface. So you have like a fusion of of the natural aspect and as well as the human aspect. And then finally, we have the less eco-sensitive area, which is more focused on human activities and providing functional spaces for all the users over here. And we have again marked all of these with these small sections over here, which are really important to showcase the details on such a large scale. And then finally, we have this sectional view over here that really gives us a really overall, a really nice view of our intervention, what we have tried to achieve, the kind of feel and look that we have tried to go for. So I think this is where I'd like to end the presentation. And thank you.
Yeah, so really love the way the things have been explained. Something that caught my eye was the 3D views and everything. So, what were the kind of softwares that you guys really used throughout the whole trophy, and what were the major softwares that helped you out in a really good way?
All right, so one of the main aspects to document this large stretch is the overall analysis of it, and the best software for that is, of course, the GIS. So we use Global Mapper to get the overview of means Vishwamitra River and itself the Vadodara city. And if the majority mapping work was done through CAD, and the overall site analysis and that stuff, we did it from Google Earth Pro. And if you scroll down for design, uh, you are talking about the 3D visualizations. So uh, the overall things is model into SketchUp, and after that for rendering we use Lumion to get this specific views. Yeah.
Okay. Apart from that, what were the major challenges you guys faced during the whole trophy, or something that might have demotivated you, or what was something that kept you motivated throughout the trophy, making sure that you finish the trophy in the given time period?
I think one of the unique challenges about last year's MSL was the sheer scale of it and the way they had asked us to consider a linear path. I think it was a really interesting concept that we had the chance to explore and really work on this large scale, and to be able to understand how to handle such a large scale, and that we can also narrow it down and use prototypes, the concept of prototypes, to showcase our design, and which can be repeatable in on the long term. So I think this sheer scale of it, to have such experiences in the third year, for example, for us, it's almost like a good scale in terms of third year. So I think we really enjoyed having such a challenge for us.
Something that you would like to suggest the participants for the 68th year of MSL Trophy?
I think it's really important to understand your site, understand the layers of your site, how your site is behaving. If we talk about water bodies, in this case, we really understood the behavior of the water body. So we can be really focused on analysis. I think it's a really underrated, or like it's a really important part. And yeah, I think it's a really good competition to get a chance to understand landscaping, understand flora, fauna, and all of these aspects. So it really helps us to really broaden our understanding of the field and this different sectors of the field. So I think it's a really a good challenge that we should all relish and really go for it all out. And good luck to all the entries and everyone this year.
Thank you guys. Thank you for presenting the sheets, and congratulations on winning the MSL Trophy in the 67th year. So yeah, before we end the
Thank you.
session, thank you guys. If anybody would like to add on anything, or anybody would like to specify anything for this year's participants, it's your name, guys. So, anyways, thank you for giving us the time and helping our 68th year participants for MSL Trophy. And yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.